Hi everyone, I'm Jim and welcome to the review of Diminishing Between Worlds, the second studio record by the technical death metal band Decrepit Birth. Today we're celebrating the 15th anniversary of the record, so I've decided to go back and see if it still holds up or not. I've already done a video about this band back on the 6th June 2022, because that was the 10th anniversary of the time I found this band. 6th June 2012 was the day I first heard Decrepit Birth and their discography. I will continue that story in a minute, let's just focus about some other things. Firstly, this record has 11 songs, it was recorded by Bill Robinson on the vocals, Matt Sotelo on guitars, bass, keyboards and backing vocals, he writes all of the music for this band, and Casey Howard on the drums, legendary drummer. His blasts are out of this world. We also have a guest Ty Oliver doing solo on the song The Enigmatic Form. He also did some solos on the next record Polarity. Released on Unique Leader, the album was produced by Zach Oren and the album art as usual was done by Dan Seagrave. All of the Decrepit Birth albums have artwork done by him. So the production is tight, it's very clean but heavy, it has that organic sound, everything just works perfectly. Message of the tracks is esoteric, it's about cosmos and finding yourself, shit like that. I actually enjoy these kinds of lyrics because usually in death metal you have some shit about blood, gore, murders. Sure, it can be fun sometimes to listen songs about that stuff, but not usually. So I give a thumbs up to Decrepit Birth for trying something different. So going back to my story from the beginning, when I first heard Decrepit Birth, I hated them, because the first album, End Time Begins, is not the type of death metal music I enjoy. End Time Begins, while being a technical death metal record, is devoid of any melodies and hooks, and because of that I didn't listen to the next records, and it was the biggest mistake of my life. So when a week or 2 weeks later I've decided to check out the rest of the discography, I was very surprised to see how different Diminishing Between Worlds was from the previous record. It's like listening to a different band. So since then I never base my opinions about anything if I don't know the full picture. So if I heard only one album by some band, I don't talk about them because I don't have the entire discography, I haven't heard it, so I might be wrong saying that the band is good or either bad. So I always check everything, and that's what Decrepit Birth basically taught me. So, what has caused this change in direction for Decrepit Birth? The first record was inspired by the band Suffocation, a classic tech death band, and then Matt, the band's founding member, decided to make the second record more melodic, more progressive, add some more of that soul that Chuck Schuldiner would add to his band Death. I think that Matt Sotelo said in some interview that some of the songs here were written before the first record, like in the 90s, but I might be wrong, and initially recording of this music started in the year 2006, that's why the demo was released, which had 3 songs. This demo is very interesting because it shows you the difference between the final product and the demo. I would describe the music on this record as technical death metal with soul and emotions, but the structure is progressive because it never comes back, like the melodies you hear at the beginning will not be there at the end or in the middle. It's always evolving, it's always changing, and I love it about that because it's like a journey. It's like watching a movie or I don't know, taking part in some grand quest. The record starts with The Living Doorway, and it truly feels like a doorway to a different dimension. Let's start with the drumming. Casey Howard is just killing it. He's always using his legs. His blast beats are just so precise and legendary. He's just blasting all the time, changing everything. It's very hard to keep up at the beginning, so even after several listenings you will always find something new in his playing style, which is very nice, and that is what is happening on every song except the outro, which doesn't have drums. The bass is audible, it has its own lines, especially on the track The Enigmatic Form. The guitars are very reminiscent of the sound of Perseverance/Symbolic Death era, but they are much faster. It's like this record, Diminishing Between Worlds, has based its entire identity on the last two Death records. And it's beautiful, because it's much more faster and technical. There is a lot of stuff going on here. Like, the riffs will almost never repeat, they always change all the time. The solos are beautiful. In this song alone there are like 2 or 3 solos which will blow your mind. This one song has more ideas than the entire Metallica discography. I am not joking. Listen to this shit, you will be baffled at how much interesting things were added into 4 minutes. This song is 4 minutes long and it has so many passages, so many fills, so many interesting things. This song started my love for this band and I appreciate it a lot. It's a legendary track. I especially enjoyed the atmosphere of this song. It truly feels like some ancient times, like in Egypt, or maybe it's the future. It's cosmos and we are everywhere on distant planets. It truly feels like a different world. 11 out of 10. Reflections of Emotions is even better. This song makes me cry at how melodic and great it sounds. I don't know how that scale is called that Chuck Schuldiner was using and Matt Sotelo is using throughout this entire record, but it's my favorite thing to hear on guitars. Whenever these kinds of riffs come up, I am always like, I love this. This is how melodic stuff should always sound like. But what about the vocals? I think Bill has a really cool growling style and I enjoy it, but to me personally it kinda hurts the music, and I've talked about it with Matt like in 2014 and he told me something along the lines that they are proud of the lyrics and the vocals and that this music does not work without the message or something like that, and that they will not release an instrumental version, which truly hurt me because I think he's wrong. I think people should have the choice to enjoy things with or without vocals. Like, other bands are releasing the original versions with vocals and like 1 or 2 years later they do the instrumental version. And this actually helps the band because not everyone likes growling. Like, I would recommend this record to everyone, and not all of the people enjoyed it because of the vocals. That was the only problem they had. I don't have this problem because I like the vocals and I like the message, but I also would like to hear this stuff without the vocals because then the immersion would be easier. So that's just my opinion, that we should have an instrumental version of the record to enjoy it just for the music, and this version with the vocals to enjoy the whole picture. I'm sure some people will disagree, but that's just how I'm feeling about it. This song is above legendary stuff for me, especially the guitar solos and the melodies. 12 out of 10. The title track, Diminishing Between Worlds, is very similar to the first song. It has those death kind of riffs. I enjoy it, the guitar work especially, and the solos. I'm sorry that I'm constantly repeating myself, but there's not much to say about this thing because you need to experience it for yourself. You basically need to feel it and live through it. So yeah, this song is another legendary track, 11 out of 10. I can say the same thing about Dimensions Intertwine. It truly sounds like something out of Unreal video game from 1998. It has that impact. 11 out of 10. The Enigmatic Form is one of the 2 instrumental songs here. The other one is the outro. Here we have lots of bass, which is amazing. The song has much slower pace than the previous 4 songs, so you can actually get some breath of fresh air here. I like this. I like the variety of this record. So it's a very fun song to listen to. I like the atmosphere here, the ambience of it. 11 out of 10. A Gathering of Imaginations is the most beautiful song ever written. I think it's the best one, like ever. It will never be topped. I love it from beginning to the end. Every section is just flawless. Every segment is interesting and it keeps you on your toes. You're always focused on the music because there's so much stuff going on and it just takes you to a different place. So my favorite parts here are the solos, especially the second one. It's a beautiful song, it has that victorious vibe to it, like you're taking part in some great battle and your forces have won at the end. This is the only time in the history of this channel that I'm going to give a song a 13 out of 10 rating. I've heard this song like 50,000 times since 2012. It was very hard to do, but I was just obsessed with this band for over 3 years. I would listen to them every day. I remember there were days when I would just listen to this whole album 20 times a day. And it's all because of this song, because it was just so damn good. Let's move on to Through Alchemy Bound Eternal. This song starts a new trend on the record, where the songs are much more darker and heavier. The first part of the record, Right Until a Gathering, was very melodic, and Through Alchemy continues the melodic approach, but it's much more brutal and heavier. Still, I enjoy this song a lot. Everything just flows very well, and I cannot find any flaw here. Every second is just beautiful. 11 out of 10. And Time Begins is a re-recording of the title track of the first record. There are major changes in the sound when it comes to this song. The first one was very different. Here it's even more brutal in some parts, but it's also way more melodic than the original. Still, I think this is the most brutal song on the record, and I truly enjoy it. It gives us variety in the sound. 10 out of 10. Await the Unending continues that brutal approach, but it adds a lot of melodies. I love the first solo, right around the first minute I think it starts, it's just beautiful. Then we have some beautiful melodic stuff in the middle, then the brutality comes back. This song is a journey and I love it. 11 out of 10. Essence of Creation is my second favorite song on this record. It feels like a long journey that is full of interesting events and just basically adventures. You have lots of guitar solos here, every one of them is fantastic. The drumming as usual, perfect. The bass work, yeah. The vocals, great. Everything works here, especially the atmosphere of the song. 12 out of 10, and at the end we have the Morpheus Oracle, the outro. It's just some synths and guitars. It's actually very beautiful. It reminds me of the video game Serious Sam The First Encounter. I don't know why, it has that vibe about it. Of course, this is the weakest song on the record because it's just an outro and it's 1 minute long, but still, it's a beautiful end to this record. 10 out of 10. To sum it all up, the consistency is stable and the flow is ideal. Replayability, hell yeah, it's a timeless record. This is one of those music albums that should have been sent into space, so if aliens would ever get the package, they would hear it and they would be like, wow, that species must be smart, this shit is just epic. What can I say? I think this is the best album ever written and recorded. Since 2012 I've been searching for a better music album and I've listened to around 80,000 records and I've never found a better release. Diminishing Between Worlds has a timeless approval from me. The next record, Polarity, is also up there, but it's slightly below this one. I recommend this record to anyone who enjoys death metal music with melodies. If you're a big fan of the band Death and records like Symbolic or The Sound of Perseverance, then this is a must listen for you, and I hope that someday we will finally get the instrumental version of it, because then I am sure that even people outside of the metal world will appreciate it. That's all from me. Celebrate the anniversary by spinning this record today. Believe me that I am going to be listening to this one for the entire day. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in my other videos. Bye!